Hello and welcome to Levels Plus Whenever episode 177. I have an episode I've been cooking. It's ready to go, but it keeps getting pushed because of all these trailer compilations that we call presentations. Anyway, Nintendo Direct happened earlier today, and I thought I would recap my highlights and just kind of talk about my general thoughts of the show. And then we'll get to that postponed episode maybe by this weekend. And then kind of get back into talking about things that are not constantly about conferences. So up front, I think that this was a strong but not the strongest direct I've seen. I'm giving this like a B+. There was at least like 10 or 12 things that I was excited about. A couple things that I popped off really loudly about. I even got excited about a Kingdom Hearts game. Not for me, but for other people. Because my goodness, they've been starved. And actually seeing something new for 4 was really impactful and emotional for a lot of those fans that have just been waiting and waiting and waiting. On the whole, Nintendo showed off three new things. The new Xenoblade, Switch Sports Resort, and Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. They spent probably too long on Switch Sports Resort with the Thumb War game. I don't really know why they felt compelled to spend what felt like 5 minutes. It's probably more like 3, but it certainly felt like a long time. I wish they would have put that into showing a bit more of Zelda Ocarina of Time instead. I don't really knock game reveal stuff all that often, but I think that the purpose of what Switch Sports Resort was offering in terms of that new mode was pretty apparent in the actual trailer and didn't need the silly demo. That's just me. Treehouse didn't really put anything on that I was interested in watching either, so I didn't bother. Star Fox is coming out in like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I can't remember the exact date. I'll play it then. I don't need a demo. I don't need to watch more of it. I'm good. I feel the same about Splatoon Raiders, honestly. They're doing a direct on the 30th. I'm not going to watch it. I, at this point, know what they're basically doing, and I just want to play it. So that is just kind of general critique, I suppose, about things, but we'll go through each part that I want to emphasize because I'm going to review my direct recording, not necessarily the actual whole direct recording. And we'll start real quick with what I think was a very fascinating decision, which was starting with Rhythm Heaven Groove. Wow, they slapped that logo out of there so fast. I thought this was an interesting decision. This might be the last Switch 1 game that ever gets spotlighted in a Nintendo Direct like this, because they didn't announce any new ones. To my knowledge, this is it. Where we have maybe... I'm trying to even think right now. Because Splatoon Raiders, Zelda Ocarina of Time remake, Fire Emblem, Xenoblade Genesis, Switch Sports Resort, all of those are Switch 2 games. Every single one of them. So this could be the last dedicated Switch 1 game, and that's the only thing I could think of as to why they put it in the front. And they also had Koizumi step out beforehand, which is a little unusual. This is the first direct, I believe, with the new NOA president, so maybe she felt that it should be structured a little bit differently. I don't know. But the game looks great, and I did keep it in here because I think it's important for Nintendo's like last hurrah with the Switch and bringing back this franchise as like the last game that is Switch 1 focused. Trying to maybe see if they can get some more numbers for it, and I think that's great. But for me personally, I am terrible at rhythm games. I don't do well at them, and so I don't have a whole lot of interest in engaging with Rhythm Heaven as much as the art style is adorable and well animated and it looks fun and kooky. It's a game I will enjoy watching other people play, but not me personally. Onimusha, part of a 3-game onslaught from Capcom. It's very unsurprising because I think Capcom in general has gotten the Switch 2 porting down to a science. Resident Evil Requiem and Pragmata released day of, and outside of being keycard releases and some visual downgrades that are obvious if you compare like side by side, it's very apparent how much Capcom is putting in the effort to make these games run as good as possible on the Switch 2. And Onimusha is doing the same thing. It doesn't look as good as it does on the PS5 or PC or Xbox Series, but it's doing a great job of being a comparable frame rate and a comparable animation. It's just visually, it's not as striking. And I think that's really a powerful thing that Capcom has figured out. Perhaps better than any other third party at this point is how their engine can scale. It's kind of brilliant how well it scales. So I'm excited for fans of Capcom's games that only have a Switch 2. They get to play them. Since they're keycards, though, I'm never going to buy them because I want to own a physical copy of the game. Their big announcement, though, was Dragon's Dogma finally getting an expansion for its second game, and they're calling it Dark Arisen, just like the first one. I've been waiting to get into Dragon's Dogma 2 for what I suspected was going to be a expansion of some kind, and here it is. 2 years later, Itsuno's gone, but the expansion has arrived. And this looks really good on Switch 2. If I could not just pretty much guarantee it would be a key card, I would consider getting it for the Switch 2. But I will likely just get it on PS5. But again, this is yet another top tier Capcom game that could use an expanded audience, and adding in this expansion with a whole new area to explore, new creatures, an appraisal system sounds like that was new as well. I imagine that there's some new class stuff as well, and they're upgrading the game with free patches up to this expansion's release. I think that's great. We're gonna skip ahead slightly and then come back because I think I might as well just get all the Capcom stuff done at once. I just gotta find where the other Capcom announcement is. It's in here somewhere. There we go. I went back a little bit too far. Here we go. So the third and final is Devil May Cry 5. This is being called the Devil Hunter Edition. And it sounds like there's some new colors and some new theme songs that have been added, as well as getting all of the Devil Busters, like the Mega Buster on Nero's arm that disappeared so fast that I couldn't pause it fast enough. Right there. So those are nice little additions. I don't know if there's anything else that they're adding. This is going to be digital only for the US, but Europe apparently is getting a physical. And I imagine that this will be coming out on other consoles as well. I'm pretty sure I saw that. But this is yet another top-tier Capcom game coming to Switch too, and this one's very soon. I had 5 briefly, but I wanted to actually just get the full game with all the stuff. And I've seen it played a few times, and I'm not 100% sure if I actually want to play it. So I'm probably good passing, maybe. I'll see how I feel. There's too many things. Let's just be honest. There's too many things right now. Coming up. Alright. So, kudos to Capcom for supporting the Switch 2 so much. Orbitals. Got another chance to shine here. It's adorable. I love the art style. It certainly seems to have inspired a couple other games to really push an anime look for their visuals. Vivarium, that we saw in the Xbox show, for example, is very similar. But I still think this is an astounding looking game, and Nintendo's even publishing it for Kepler in the physical format. So clearly they care a lot about this game succeeding. And I could see why, because it's an incredible looking game that I'm even interested in, and I'm going to have to figure out an online person to play with. But this is coming out in September. Guess what's coming out in September as well? Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. And I managed to snag that collector's edition, and I think that's the next game anyway, so let's just get into it. I managed to snag the collector's edition, so I am set. I ended up getting it from Nintendo themselves early before they sold out. I don't know how I pulled that off, but thankful I did. But my reaction to this was perhaps a little subdued compared to like Muramasa or even Kingdom Hearts 4. It's because I knew what this game's about, and I knew these 4 characters and all that, but it was really just me soaking in all of these details. Because I want this game probably more than anything else, and that's saying a lot. But Fire Emblem is a very special franchise to me, and Three Houses in particular is a very important game to me. And this is taking place in the same world, potentially in the future, by about 300 years, based on some analysis some of my fellow Fire Emblem devotees have done. Yeah, see, it says 1449 in the corner over there. But Fire Emblem Three Houses takes place in the 1100s, so this seems to be set in the future. And quite a few of these characters resemble characters of the past, which is kind of interesting as well. Someone was pointing out, like, this character on the left here could be Hilda's, like, descendant. And then this archer here, Ursula, could be Marianne's. She even has the same seal as Marianne, the Crest of the Beast. So it's kind of interesting seeing all these characters, and they might be connected to characters in Three Houses in some way, which I think is super rad. Everything looks great. It looks like they're throwing in some Echo's dungeon diving, which I think is a really cool idea. They've got this map. I've lost track of it. There's so many things going on in this trailer. Maybe it happened after. I don't remember when the map is. But you have like a set amount of time to do stuff before you end up going into the Coliseum and doing those things. But you can walk around, explore, like, This character here might be Leonie's descendant, is what some people are thinking. This character could be like Seth's, perhaps. So I'm trying to think of like anyone else with that same color of bright green hair, and Seth and Flame and Rhea. So she could be connected. There we go. This is the map. So you can spend days going out into Dagden and exploring these areas, waiting for the story to move forward. And I think this is a kind of a neat idea to change how this game functions compared to Three Houses. Three Houses was very class-driven. This is not that setup. So they've come up with this alternative thing that the further you go away, you might get really good rewards, maybe even like unlockable characters. I'm seeing some like people up in the top left corner. Might get some like interesting side story beats and things like that. But you're pushing yourself farther away from your hub in the process of doing that, which could, like, there's probably some sort of bonus of going into the final battle with more time. Hard to say. We don't fully know how this is all going to work yet. But I'm excited. Like, this game is shaping up to be like a crisscross of some of my favorite elements of the series. The 4 new heroes don't seem to be the protagonists. In the middle of the little story sequence at the end, we see this character appear. This character in white with an apparent wing. This character's on the box right in the middle there. There's a male and a female one. And the art book happens to be flipped to the page of this character. So, Ishmael is the name of this character. Don't really know if they're the Byleth of this game, or if they're something else. It's not entirely sure, but they are important. And, of course, Sothis is involved, which I think her role is very fascinating. As I said, I was soaking all this all in, so... But Sothis is fascinating. I love the direction that her voice actress is taking her. Very different direction. This seems to be like more of a religious cult with her, because there's actually other people in this area. Now, she was holding a spear in an earlier scene, like right before this scene. She's holding the spear that I believe... this is the axe, sorry. This is the axe after all. It looked like the spear, but now I see that I paused it. And it looks like she's attacking someone in her group here. But calls them the darkest of the dark. So it seems that those who dwell in the dark... live in the dark. I forget what the World 3 Houses and 3 Hopes called this group. Are still an entity 300 years later. So yeah, there's a lot of analysis that I feel I could potentially do, but I will probably just watch other people come up with their theories. I don't have too long to wait, and I imagine there will be a direct between now and the game's release, specifically for Fortune's Weave. I'm just glad that I don't have to think about the collector's edition anymore. That's really, really nice. I think this challenge idea to earn challenge cards that act as achievements for a particular franchise is a really interesting idea. I think it's a really cool idea. It wasn't live quite yet. Before I started recording, but I'm gonna probably play around with it. I'll probably do the arcade ones and the Bonanza ones. I'm not gonna probably do too much for the Donkey Kong Country ones themselves, because I don't care for that game that much. But this could be just a fun little thing to do, and get some cards and just engage with a franchise that I like some of. And then we got Mario stuff showing up in Bonanza, so apparently I need to get back into Emerald Rush so I can get some adorable costumes for our pro tags here. Pauline with the Luigi costume is too cute. Like, Jesus Christ. But this is a super fun mode. I really enjoyed it. So I don't have qualms about returning to it a few more times this summer to get some more content for the game and some more costumes. So I'm down. Liza P looks pretty good. Again, doesn't look as phenomenal as it does on other systems, but I think that the devs have done a great job of dialing the engine back a bit, and it looks like the frame rate, which is the important thing for a game like this, is there. So I heard that they added an easy mode when they did the DLC, like as a free patch. So I'm interested in Liza P because I think the story is going to be interesting, but I wouldn't be getting it on Switch 2 probably, although it is not a key card, so I might, just to support devs doing that. All right, the thing I blew up about. So let me explain why I popped off so hard. Muramasa the Demon Blade is one of the few Vanillaware games that is not published by Atlas. It's currently owned by Marvelous. And the complicated publishing situation with Muramasa was that the North American versions were published by a now defunct publisher named Ignition. And they also, I believe, published the Vita version. That was one of the last games they published. So I imagine that Vanillaware has been dying to re-release Muramasa forever, but just due to some legal lees that they had to sort out, they convinced, or somehow Marvelous ended up with it, one way or the other. And this is finally happening. Muramasa the Demon Blade on the Wii is a fantastic action game. I could do without Momohime's being such a strange situation with her soul pushed out of her body by a male spirit that is vengeful. The original writing was not great, but they are completely rewriting these games, or this game, and they're dubbing it for the first time. So I'm hoping that maybe that'll be improved. And this is coming out next year, so there's plenty of time for them to continue polishing it up. It is a Switch and Switch 2 game, which is nice. I'm going to get the Switch 2 one because it's not a key card. And there's a deluxe edition that has an art book, if I remember correctly. And I am all about art books, especially for Vanillaware stuff, even if I don't 100% love the fan service they love to do. They're still astounding pieces of art. So I'm really excited that this has come back. This was definitely one of those pie-in-the-sky dream games. So for me, this was probably the hypest announcement for myself. So all the Xenoblade Chronicles games, not X, are getting their Switch 2 editions. There's problems. It seems that however Monolith Soft decided to do these, they did it across all four of them, and there's just some blur filters and some other things that are just making it look not as good as it could. But I think that Chronicles 1 looks better than what I've seen of X. And honestly, I'm not going to be zooming in all that often. So I'm probably going to invest in getting the 3 Xenoblade games I have and getting their Switch 2 editions at some point. Because they are adding extra stuff, too. So it's not like it's just the visual thing. I do wish that these were done better. Because I've seen what can be done when you do them better. I think, for like example, the Kirby one looks pretty good. Kirby looks really good. Metroid Prime 4, that is a phenomenal one. But again, that was developed concurrently, so there's a difference. It's just a bit of a bummer that this wasn't thought of in advance. But thankfully, we have a new Xenoblade game coming to the Switch 2, Genesis, which, as I mentioned in my reaction, seems to be like, what if we combined Xenoblade with Three Houses? A little bit. Let's have this school of characters coming together and going and exploring this place. And I'm here for it. I am down with it. I make no promises that the story is going to be good or excellent or anything like that. I think Xenoblade 1 has a good, serviceable story, but there's things about it that I'm not the hugest fan of. So far, this game's keeping the restraint on the character designs, which, as long as these ones exist, I'm probably fine. Then they can go ham on their alt outfits with armor and everything they want. I'm just happy that there's some default costumes that I don't hate right off the get-go, a la Pyra and Mithra from 2. I want to know more about what's going on with this game already, and it seems that the world is vast. You can potentially fly on a dragon, you can ride wolves, there's rivalry within the academy. It's got the drama. I like the art style. Yasunori Mitsuda is the main composer, so the music's going to be likely exceptional. We've got a year to wait before it's out. I suspect this would probably be one of their 2027 fall games, but we'll find out. But yeah, I am stoked that we finally get to see what the new Xenoblade is, and it's a bit of a shakeup. I'm not going to talk too much about Star Fox because I kind of talked about it up front. I think it looks fantastic. Valon Studios is the one doing it, and they've knocked it out of the park as far as I'm concerned. There's a demo. I'm not playing it. I will play it in 3 weeks. Square Enix is doing an HD 2D Final Fantasy based off of the Brave Exodus, whatever that gacha mobile game was. It's like Octopath Traveler 0, but for Final Fantasy. But it looks like what they've done here by renaming it and reframing it into a solo experience. It's hitting the right notes for me. I love this sprite art. It's awesome looking. They're taking some swings with their HD 2D engine with this, and I'm super excited. I wonder who's ultimately handling this for them. Because I believe Arte Piazza is the one that did the... trying to remember. I think Ardent did the Dragon Quest ones, but I can't... And then Choir did Octopath Traveler. So I don't know who they've got working on this, but it looks good. It looks really, really good, and I'd like to know more about it in the near future. And they're treating it with like full merits of Final Fantasy. They got a mono to do the logo art and everything. So I'm pretty excited about this one. Could this be the one, the Final Fantasy that gets me to actually play through it all the way? I think 7 Remake will ultimately be that too. I just need to sit down and play it. But I really think this is looking good. I also said this at the top. I think I'm good on Splatoon Raiders in terms of previews. I think I'm just ready to play this game. I think that the little trailer that they did like in April, fleshing it out a bit more, this is basically that but more, and you get to see a bit more of the combat. I just want to play it. I'm gonna be completely honest. They don't need to do a full-on direct. Just let it sit and let it come out in late July. We'll get into it. We'll have fun. I am curious about the Splatfest, though. I'm wondering if they're gonna have any of the new gizmos as gear in that Splatfest, because they're calling it a special one, and they're emphasizing some of like the bombs and weaponry that you might be able to have. I'm curious. We'll see. I'm not going to talk too much about Metaphor. Just, I'm glad it's getting ported. And the port looks pretty solid. I think that this game is so good. So good. such a marvelous game. It blew me away. So the fact it's coming onto Switch 2 and more people will have the opportunity to play it, I'm so stoked. All right, Tales of Eternia. Blink and you miss it. I was bummed that they just relegated this here. I wish that they didn't do the Thumb War and gave this more time. Again, I think the Thumb War was really silly. And again, I don't want to nitpick too much, but I really feel like that was just a bit of a waste in comparison to seeing a game that when I heard it was rated, I was like, ooh, that's cool. It's one of the PS1 games. Tales of Destiny 2 is what we got it as. It's expensive. It's really expensive. And this is the first 2D one that they've remastered. And based on the 15 seconds that you get to see of it, it looks like they did a good job. Unfortunately, I think it's another September game. Or this one's October. So that one's a possibility if the price is not too expensive. If it's like $30, I could probably swing that. But man, there's just so much coming out this year. Alright, I am not going to talk long on Kingdom Hearts. I think it's great that the original trilogy is finally getting a physical version. It's a key card for Switch too. But at the very least, it's physical. If you want it on Switch 2, you can do that now. It's not a cloud. It's not based on the internet. You still have to download it from the internet, but at the very least, it's an improvement. I think it's great that all of these are getting proper versions, and Kingdom Hearts 3 looks like a good port. So that's what I can say about Kingdom Hearts trilogy. The fact that they are bringing Kingdom Hearts 4 to the Switch 2, and they skipped all the other shows to have it here, blew my mind. I was not ready for Kingdom Hearts 4 to be in a Nintendo Direct, and I think nobody else was either. And at this stage, I think the expectation of what is a Nintendo Direct needs to go away, because Nintendo keeps doing this over and over again. It just ended up being with Kingdom Hearts this time. We had like Capcom fighting game announcements for a while, with Marvel vs. Capcom and then Capcom Fighting Collection 2, which were really hype as hell. This was also really hype as hell. It was the thing that so many people who are fans of this franchise have been dying to see it, and they got it. To finally see it again was like emotional catharsis for them. This was a powerful thing, and I really wish Nintendo put this at the end, because what ultimately happened is they gave us a kind of flat Ocarina of Time remake announcement with just like the first minute or two of the N64 game. You get to see how they're doing it now, and then cut it and just say, oh, 2026, ha ha ha, and then run out the door just so we can hear Nintendo of America's president talk for a little while. I think that if they had put this before the Kingdom Hearts announcement, it would have been swallowed a bit better. A lot of people are seemingly upset at the art style. I'm not. Ocarina of Time, at its core, was trying to do realism in the limitations of 64 bits. So I don't think that they're going with a more realistic style versus like the Ghibli influence of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, or the Toon style of Wind Waker. I think going in the Twilight Princess but further direction makes sense to me in terms of what they would do with Ocarina of Time. I'm not bothered. I want to see more of it. I want to see it in motion, not a child sleeping. I want to see Link in the world of Hyrule from Ocarina of Time. I want to see how they're expanding it, or if it's really just a one-to-one remaster of sorts more than a remake. I'm gathering from the fact that they altered the intro a little bit, because Link doesn't normally see the Triforce at this stage in the game. He sees it when he's a grown-up, not when he's a child. It is on his left hand, though, which makes me very excited. As a left-handed person, representation matters. I am super excited about the direction of this game. I just thought we'd see more of it in its debut, but I do also know that Nintendo tends to be cagey with Zelda reveals when they first show them. They kind of did the same thing with Breath of the Wild, but at the very least we saw it in motion. We didn't have a person reading at us. So yeah, I feel like the choice to do the reveal this way falls flat. Not as good as it could have been if we even got like a taste of adult Link after the 2026. Even just the smallest taste of what it looks like in engine, in motion, would have been lovely. And while some people are certainly on board, I've certainly seen a fair amount of people that are not. And have been very mean. And again, I've talked about this before. Nintendo has put themselves in the position of punching bag with the Switch 2 in terms of how much it costs to buy anything anymore for Nintendo products, among other decisions that they've made. So I feel that their ostrich head in the sand methodology of just not listening and not reacting appropriately and just moving forward with what their plan is no matter what, I think it came back and bit them a little bit here, and we'll see if they change their course moving forward. Knowing Nintendo, they probably won't, but... And that's why, ultimately, I'm giving this presentation a B+, is because I feel that the ending was weird. The way that it was structured should have ended with Kingdom Hearts 4. Because then I think people would have walked away with a much more rosy and positive outcome. Even if you don't like Kingdom Hearts, you feel for those fans. And then the intro, too. Like, just... I realize Rhythm Heaven is the last Switch 1 game ever, probably, from Nintendo. So they gave it its curtain call, but still, it felt strange just not leading into it and having Koizumi-san just show up and start talking to us right when the timer ended. Not what they've done in the past, and I kind of hope they don't continue doing it moving forward. But a B+ overall. There was a lot of stuff that I think was solid for other people, but not me, and a lot of it wasn't included here. I'm happy with this Direct. B+. Could have been an A- if they switched Zelda and Kingdom Hearts. And that's saying something, because I don't even want to play Kingdom Hearts. That's just my opinion. Anyway, that's enough ranting from me about this Direct. Thank you for joining me. We're going to get back on schedule. I've got an inventory video to do. I'm going to probably do that early July. I've got my last looking back video for a while. That's the episode I mentioned at the top that's been getting pushed around. That will either be this weekend or next weekend. I may take a break and not worry about doing anything else this weekend. Because, man, I've recorded so much this last week. I'm kind of tired of this process. But I wanted to at least knock this out while it was still fresh in my mind. I just got done watching like a bunch of people that I like watching their reactions. So it feels... I have good feels despite the internet's general negativity about everything. And I understand why. The world sucks. So much shit happening. But still, we gotta find joy in things somehow, or we're just gonna be depressed, sad, and angry all the time, and that's just not a good spot for us to be as human beings, I feel. Alright, I'm getting off my soapbox. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful set of days until I see you again, and take care.